I don't even know what that question means. It's just like interesting. Like whenever there's a debate on with a Muslim, like all the questions are directed to the, on these arcane aspects of Islamic law, and that's the Q&A. Like why is that? Why can't questions be about the actual case that we debated on? So this shows like this kind of bias against Muslim debaters. I'm not saying it's Destiny's fault or James' fault, but it just shows the state of like people's thought process. We can have a debate on any one of these Islamic topics, like the minutiae of Islamic law, but that's irrelevant to the topic at hand in this debate. So why, every debate that I have, do you have this same issue?
This one coming in from Max the Confessor says, Destiny, when are you talking to Nick Mullen?
I don't think I have anything lined up with him.
You got it. This one coming in from Grandma Cooking says, Daniel, do you feel your scope was too narrow for the debate by ignoring specifics of the case, focusing on the angle you wanted to attack?
No, I don't think it was too narrow. Like I focused on the actual definitions of trafficking, the definitions of rape. Like how is that? That's exactly what this case is about. And due process, how is evidence relevant to considering someone to be guilty? How does the presumption of innocence play in all of this? That's what this whole debate is about.
You got it. This one coming in from, do appreciate it. David versus Games says, is it true that Daniel is a tier 3 sub to Pokemon and participates in the simp culture?
Yeah, I guess.
This one
I don't even know what that means.
Let's see. E-Bone says, Daniel, have you ever played Factorio?
No, I haven't played that.
This one from Famo says, Daniel and Destiny had a nice moment earlier. The bullets have stopped flying and Destiny looks tired. Let's end it on a calm note. Back me up, James. LOL. We're almost there. We just got a few more questions.
One thing again about this judge report, it was on Gondol, the Romanian press site. The judge's statement was there, but they removed it, which is why I have a PDF and I can't give you an exact link. But I'm happy to include the PDF, like a link to download the PDF in the description after the debate. So anyone who's interested, you can go into the description and actually read it for yourself and see the judge's statement that I quoted.
You got it. This one coming in from, do appreciate it. Famo says, we got that one. Toxin AV says, Destiny, if there was a door and behind that door Tate was holding dogs hostage for money, how much would an acceptable amount be? Wink, wink.
Good question. It's a top secret number.
I don't understand what that means.
I don't
but
either.
Want to say I've got just a couple more questions here. In the meantime, folks, don't forget our guests are linked in the description, and don't forget to hit like no matter what stream you're watching at. Questily says, Daniel absolutely trashed Destiny. Wow, they say the U.S. uses the courts to do political prosecutions, and the victims, quote unquote, were never chained up. Wow. Free Epstein.
Crazy.
The Trib one says, I think the issue is ultra specific. These two need to hug it out with a good old meta ethics debate. That'll be the greater unifier for these two debates. Thanks for that. Atheist Allosaurus says, if we are all made in God's image, why aren't we all invisible? Thank you for that. ES1002 is that a parody account of an atheist? ES1002 says, Daniel, what if one of the women was your sister?
Nothing I said in this debate would be different.
Gotcha. I think that's all for the questions. Let me just double check. Otherwise, want to say, folks, thanks for being with us these last 2 hours. Want to encourage you, if you have not already, checked out our guest links. This one from Sausage Lord says, Daniel, will you join the Taliban as second commander? What's the Taliban?
That's the name for my community, dude.
Oh. Max Payne says...
Discord community?
Yeah, kind of.
This one coming in from, do appreciate it. Famo says, Destiny, unless you record your entire time with a lady, you can't prove you didn't rape her 20 years ago. And since courts usually favor women, how would you defend yourself?
Courts don't favor women when it comes to rape accusations. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You can't get convicted just because somebody says you raped them 20 years ago.
This one. Max Payne says, James, thanks for hosting another great debate. Yeah, really entertaining and hope to see more in the future. Thanks, all credit to the guests. Do want to encourage you to check them out if you haven't already, as well as, like I said, If you enjoyed this debate, hit that share button, as that'll help other people to enjoy it as well. There's something to the idea of sharing the enjoyment with others that is like the completion of the joy. This last one from Rocket League says, Daniel, why Tate didn't approach A Puss? He is a great girl. Okay, I think that, okay. This one coming from one of Daniel's foes. It says, Dave Willow, Daniel trying to capitalize on Tate's publicity stunt to become Muslim. Sad that he is fooled by an obvious con man and will hurt his own movement.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have criticized Tate before he became Muslim. I criticized him after he became Muslim. So I think I've been pretty consistent. I think, there are several videos dedicated to Andrew Tate on my channel. And this is an interesting case. I think he's a significant figure and deserves to be talked about, and how he's influencing the youth. I think some of the influence that he has on the youth, on just internet culture in general, is bad, is toxic, and I denounce that. But other things that he says, I think, are very valuable and relevant, and we should be discussing it. He's talking about real issues. Unfortunately, those kinds of conversations are being banned on social media. So that's why I, have videos dedicated to him. I think that this debate with Destiny is worthwhile. I think Destiny is a great debater. I think he did really well and made a lot of good points in this debate. I appreciate him, joining me for this conversation. And I apologize for any kind of over talking that I did, or, speaking out of turn with him. So thanks a lot.
You got it. We got, folks, we don't have enough time for any more questions to come in, so please don't ask any more questions. Murgoy Mariah says, for Daniel, if there's a witness, it must be lying. If there's evidence, it's fake. If there's a conviction, it's because of the USA. Where is the logic?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's anytime the U.S. government or, the liberal establishment accuses someone of being a rapist, as long as it's a man and there are women who say that he's a rapist, that means he's a rapist and he's a sex trafficker. Yeah, that's a good point. Believe all women.
Says, when did Muslims become sellouts? Tate bragged about all his crimes on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
This one from Lucas Parham says, Destiny, would you prefer to go to either an Andrew Tate house party or Ralphamania?
Probably Ralphamania. Why not, dude?
You got it. This one coming in from just CJ Cannon says, Destiny, Daniel's overall point is that Western anti-trafficking laws are overly broad. Do you think they are?
I don't see any reason to think that, no.
I think that they're by design overly broad because they can allow a lot of leeway for targeting political opponents.
This one from Osama Quasi says, Destiny, would you say your girl, quote, downplays... let's see... Okay, that's weird. Looking for questions on at least on a substantive issue. This one, fecal channel for you. This is gonna be sincere. It says, hey Daniel, I have a friend here who is a Muslim. At least he knows what crime and wrongdoing is. Why don't you? Okay, it's I'm sorry. The internet's just a strange place. Samir Verstein says, Destiny, a taxi driver, was held in a cell for a while this weekend until his dash cam proved he didn't inappropriately touch the client. Word was enough.
Wow, that's crazy.
And this one, CJ,
believe all women. Like, a lot of men were prosecuted just on the basis of testimony of women. Like, this is not like some random thing that people are saying that has no basis in reality. Many of the prosecutions against men in the Me Too era were purely on the basis of women who were engaged in long-term relationships with men, but at one point decided that some kind of sexual assault occurred like 10 years ago or 8 years ago. And that testimony was used in a court of law to prosecute those men. A new legal precedent was created in the Me Too era because of these cases. Harvey Weinstein is the most prominent example.
Testimony from multiple women versus testimony from a bunch of women, those are two fundamentally different things. It's always been the case that a lot of testimony can get somebody convicted from a crime from different sources. That's not anything new.
Yeah, women can collude on their stories. On this,
everybody's always been able to collude. That's not a new thing. People cheat the legal system.
The only evidence is the statements of women.
That's not unique for a lot of crimes. Sometimes you have to go by a lot of witness testimony. But
domestic violence cases, for example. It's just on the basis of testimony of women.
This is why domestic violence cases are notoriously hard to prosecute, because one person's testimony often isn't enough for
you can be arrested. Like the questioner is talking about someone who is arrested and put in jail purely on the statement of the accuser.
Yeah, anybody can be arrested and put in jail for a night or two, depending on what's going on. But it's a lot different than convicted of a crime.
For a week,
I don't know. It depends on you're not going to get convicted for a crime off of one person's testimony. Generally,
your life is destroyed by being put in prison and being arrested in that kind of way. This is a serious thing that many people have suffered because of this standard of just the testimony of women.
This isn't just the testimony of women. That's not unique to women. This is all crimes. If I call somebody and say there's a guy in my house, he's beating the shit out of me, holy fuck, and the cops show up and I'm bloody with no evidence, they'll probably arrest the dude, right? And then they might do a little investigation, figure out the guy might stay in holding for a day or two or a week, I guess, depending on how backed up the shit is. But that has nothing to do with women. That's just how our legal system works.
Yeah, if you did that, then you would be accused of a criminal conspiracy and you'd be punished severely for your false accusation. But none of that exists for women. That's why women
have been punished for false accusations. What are you talking about? There are women that have been convicted on false accusations.
But as a matter of law, there is no law in the books that criminalizes these kinds of false
accusations. Of course there are. It's called perjury. Of course there's a law in the books. If you make a statement in front of a judge, or if you sign an affidavit, or if you say something on a deposition, you lie. That's perjury.
But the arrest, we're talking about the arrest and being locked up for days, that can destroy your job. You can get fired for your job. You can, be alienated from your entire family. You can be kicked out of your house.
Calling 911 for
life
fake
is ruined. Your life is ruined by the claim of someone.
There's laws against all of this stuff. It's all of this is illegal.
No, it's not.
It is. You can literally get in trouble for making malicious reports to 911. It could be illegal, but it's not a law.
No, but these women are not prosecuted for destroying these men's lives.
Okay. This one from David versus Game says, "Gone. I love Israel. I love Israel. Gone." What does GON mean?
Gone.
Okay, this one says
Israel. He loves Israel, dude.
You got it. Sausage Lord says, "Can Destiny and Daniel do an IRL stream at the mosque?"
Probably not.
This one from, let's see, I think that's it. Endo asked if you guys want to...
I can answer that. If Destiny is willing, I'd be happy to host him at a mosque, at my house, no problem.
You got it. This one from Famo says, "Destiny, what are your thoughts about Dan Schneider? Many young girls came out exposing him for abusing them as minors, or is that also quote-unquote irrelevant?"
I don't know. Are we here to debate Dan Schneider? I don't know what to say about that.
You got it. This one from, I think this is Endo, says, "Are you guys able to steel man each other with 1 to 2 sentences at most?"
Yeah, I can steel man anything if I try hard enough. The Steelman version of his argument is that there exists an international conglomeration of governments and legal bodies and formal and informal agreements that allow some countries through subversive means to pressure the legal systems to bring politically charged charges against enemies of the state. And the examples provided therein were people like Julian Assange, where did he rape somebody, did he not? Maybe, maybe not. But then the question is it really about him raping somebody, or is it about the United States trying to pressure other countries by means of these laws that they might have some influence over to bring political prisoners to heel? So then the question is that what's happening with Andrew Tate? That's the argument, that we've seen arguably these types of charges in the past against certain people like Assange. Maybe we're seeing them right now in the present against somebody like Andrew Tate. If he's truly been involved in camming for 3, 4, 5 years, why are we just now seeing these charges come out after he's reached monumental success on social media? That's the argument.
I don't think Destiny understands what steelman is, because that's a misrepresentation of the argument. But I did steelman Destiny's argument in the debate. I said, let's take everything that Andrew Tate says that you're citing in these videos and in these chat logs. Let's take them as 100% accurate and fully in context. That is still not enough to convict him of trafficking, because the problem in this whole case, the whole weakness of Destiny's case, is that the legal system in Romania, as well as in the U.S., human trafficking standards is extremely vague it's violating due process. Key terms with the definition of rape and trafficking are vague and have to do with psychological factors, psychological conceptions of what is consent, what is coercion. Like these kinds of ever-evolving standards have created many kinds of legal problems in the United States and internationally, and they're all hotly debated. But Destiny seems to think these are all, very clear-cut, unambiguous, and on that basis, we can take Andrew Tate's testimony and convict him today. But that's not the reality.
I like how my Steelman version of your argument was better than your argument. You said I was being inconsiderate, or I didn't steelman your argument. I strawmanned you, and then you didn't even steelman my argument. You just gave another attack against it. That was very funny to me. I'm sorry.
You did attack my argument. You said that I think that there's this international conspiracy to target Andrew Tate, and
I'm sorry, hold on. Conspiracy, I'm sorry. Conspiracy is a thing. Conspiracy is when bodies are planning with each other to do a thing. Like right now, Andrew Tate is being, there's an alleged criminal conspiracy, right? It's when you're making plans to do things. Conspiracy, it doesn't have to mean a bad thing. So for instance, things that the FBI did relating to MLK, those were conspiracies. There's a difference between a conspiracy theory, or Watergate. Watergate was a conspiracy. A conspiracy, or like a conspiracy to commit crime, that's not a conspiracy theory. Like, yeah. I don't know if
I understand. I understand what you mean by conspiracy, but my case doesn't rely on proving that the U.S. has nefariously been targeting Andrew Tate, and here are the documents that show it. My case doesn't rely on that. I pointed those factors out just as overall context to show a pattern of behavior with the U.S. government.
Wait, if your case has nothing to do with that, why would you even bother bringing any of that up?
I didn't say it has nothing to do with that. It does have something to do with that. It's the context. But my case doesn't rest on establishing that the U.S. government definitively did this with Andrew Tate and his brother, and here are the emails, and here are the documents from the U.S. State Department to the Romanian prosecutor, and this proves it, case closed. Like my argument doesn't depend on that standard.
Wait, okay, so then wait, what is your argument then? Your argument is that even if all the things said were true, it's not sex trafficking, or?
No, the definition of sex trafficking is what is in question. The definition of sex trafficking with Romanian law is what's in question. Here's another attempt at steelmanning your argument. Let's say the definition of human trafficking is completely transparent, and well known. Everyone agrees around the world that this is exactly what sex trafficking is. We have no problem with the U.S. using the standard and policing the rest of the world. We have no problem with the U.S. being able to sanction countries who violate human trafficking norms defined by the U.S. Let's say that everything is all above board, and we have this evidence of Andrew Tate saying that he did X, Y, and Z, and that clearly violates the explicit law, that is unambiguous, that is complete lines. And I would say that, that'd be a very strong case. And I'd have to agree that, Andrew Tate is guilty. Unfortunately, that's not the reality.
AMD.com says, Destiny said, have there ever been false accusations from women in the past that they have hurled at you, and were those false accusations?
People accuse me of all sorts of dumb shit. I don't know. I don't even know. It depends on the year.
This one from...
that's a good point. Even if Destiny were accused by anyone of this kind of behavior, or, Destiny did X, Y, and Z, I'd defend Destiny in the same exact way.
Why? What if I had statements where I said I love to rape women? Why would you defend me?
If you had other statements where you said that you engage in role-playing behavior and that you were doing a parody of, this macho kind of guy, maybe you're doing a parody of Andrew Tate.
Oh, cool. So if I say right now, by the way, guys, I like to do a lot of parodies, so if anything in the future ever comes out where I'm raping or murdering somebody, that's just a parody. You'll defend me all the way to the...
No, I'll defend your statements. I will say that your statements about, I love raping people, I'd say that that's a parody. You're being sarcastic. You're a very sarcastic person. You often make these kinds of facetious claims. That's part of your character. That needs to be taken into account. If you're saying, I love to rape people, that's how I would defend Destiny from those kinds of accusations. And the reality, this is a good point. Any kind of abuse of women can be brought into a court of law nowadays with these very ambiguous standards of coercion and consent. So any man who has been in a relationship, have you ever lied to someone that you're in a relationship with? Have you ever been even slightly less than forthcoming in a relationship? Have you ever yelled at your partner for any reason or got into a fight? Have you ever, put your hands on your partner?
Do you truly think that you can't?
Can be used against you in a court of law.
Hold on, because I'm going to walk
according to these standards.
Yeah, so because when I walk away from this debate, these are going to be questions that I have, like incredulous. I can't tell if you're in good faith or not. Do you truly believe that we can't internationally talk about things like fraud or coercion because they can be fuzzy around the edges?
No, it's not about the edges. I'm talking about the core of the definition.
What do you think? There's no core international definition for fraud or coercion?
No, I think that this is all based on subjective standards.
What is this? What do you mean by subjective standards?
In the way that I said, like if a woman lies about her body count, if she lies about her sexual history, if she lies about, having, weighing a certain amount, I don't know. She's dishonest and she has a relationship with a man. She says, I love you, but she doesn't really love him. Is that considered to be fraud? Is that considered to be exploitation?
What law do you break? What law are you breaking there?
That's what's in question. Like, should it be a violation of the law? Like, if there was a clear-cut standard of, okay, if you lie in a sexual relationship, then that is exploitation and fraud. Then all of those cases in everyday life would be counted as fraud.
No one is saying that, though.
You can't, I know, no one's saying that. You can say that, though, based on the definition, the black and white law that's on the books. That's why the law is problematic. That's why the law is ambiguous.
So every single law that says if you use fraud or coercion, all those laws are bad because they're ambiguous. We just can't talk about that anymore.
Well, actually, there are these cases where fraud is in contention. What is the definition of fraud? And if you go to the Justice Department website and look up fraud, just Google Justice Department fraud, they'll say that fraud is something that is known by context. It's something that cannot be defined in every case. It's something very contextual. And that's why there isn't like a very clear-cut definition, even in these human trafficking cases. So Google that right now.
I don't need to Google that. It's just that this whole argument is absurd. I can't tell if you actually believe it. That, because fraud can be very hard to define exactly, and it's going to be contextual from case to case, we have to throw it all completely. There's not a single legal scholar, there's not a single court, international or otherwise. It's just such a silly, it's not even wrong. There's not even anything here to attack. It's just such a silly, if you lie to a partner about a thing, I don't know, is that fraud? Well, I don't know. So then if I lie to a woman and I tell her I'm going to marry her, bring her to their country, and then I steal half her money, and then I fucking make her work for me as a fucking prostitute who's never done that kind of work before, and she's 16 years old, since I don't know if all lying is fraud, I guess I can't say any fraud is fraud. It's just silly argument.
So here's an example. If, let's say exactly what you said happened. She came to the country on false pretenses. She gets into this house with 70 other women. Everything that you said is true. There's no lock on the door. She's been threatened that if she leaves the house, she's going to be thrown off the balcony. Let's just assume that all of that is true. But she, at any time, she does have the opportunity to just open the door and run away. But there's this threat looming over her head. And there's also, the fact that she doesn't speak the language. She doesn't speak the Romanian language. So do you think that she's being coerced in that way?
That would be an argument you have to make in front of a court. Yeah, that there was coercion involved. That the person felt like there was a genuine threat to harm the person, that there was a genuine threat to their life, that they felt like they were being financially exploited and they couldn't leave. These are all arguments.
So they felt that way. They felt like that. That's subjective. That's exactly my point.
So hold on, let me just be clear. Your point is that feelings are inadmissible in a court of law? That how a person feels about a thing?
Feelings are subjective. That's
do you understand what mens rea is? Half of the criminal code has to do with a person's state of mind and how they felt about things before going into it, of course.
Yeah, if you start accepting things like how a person feels and that being evidence for criminal action, then all kinds of criminality is happening around us every day.
Yeah, this is how all criminal law works. All of it needs this.
Murder is not based on that. Murder is not based on anyone's
feelings. Of course it is based on your feelings.
If a person kills another, premeditated, kills another person, there's a dead body there. You had the motive. You actually had the weapon. You engaged.
What is motive? What is motive? That's a feeling. Your feelings about a person.
If it's not murder, then it will count as manslaughter, or it will be, if the person didn't die, that will count as assault.
Sure, but these are based on a person's feelings. How you're feeling going into it.
They're not based on feelings. They're based on facts of this is the weapon, this is the dead body, this is the opportunity.
A weapon and a dead body? No, weapon and dead body mean nothing. No, weapon and dead body mean nothing.
Weapon and dead body mean nothing. DNA means nothing in murder
DNA
cases.
is circumstantial evidence. No, none of that means anything. If I go into
anything.
Correct, that's right. You can keep laughing.
You're overstating.
No,
like,
I'm not. If you walk into a room, if I walk into a room and there's a dead body and a gun with my fingerprints on it, no, you don't know yet if this is manslaughter or is this first-degree murder. You don't know. That's what people go to. Let me finish my statement. No, you don't know.
Just to be sure we hear.
Yeah, let me finish this. When I say it means nothing, what I mean is you have to ascertain an individual's state of mind in order to figure out the crime that's been committed. It could be all the way up to first-degree murder, where the person walked into the room like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. They take a gun and they shoot the person dead, and it's first-degree premeditated murder, 100%. Or it could literally be like two guys were looking at a gun, and in a freak accident, the gun goes off and it kills the guy, and neither of them had any reason to believe the gun would go off. Then now it might not even be manslaughter. You might be completely exonerated. So yes, your feelings, your state of mind are incredibly important. Arguably some of the most important things when we talk about things like murder or all sorts of crimes. Of course.
There's a difference between feelings and intention being a part of an overall case versus the entire case riding on how a person feels.
Intention is a feeling.
Now you're interrupting. When you ask about, when I asked you about, would this be coercion? Would this be a lack of meaningful consent? The first thing you started talking about, well, it depends on how the person feels about that situation. So that the entire case of whether this is or is not coercion, whether it is or is not a violation of meaningful consent, is it fraud, is it exploitation, depends on the feeling. That's not the same in murder cases and assault cases and larceny and money laundering. Your intentions and feelings could play a part in those cases, but the cases are not riding on whether you feel that you committed a crime or not, or whether you felt like you were compelled or not. Like you could feel like you can be involved in a kind of money laundering case and say, oh, but I felt like this mafia boss was going to kill me if I didn't participate. That doesn't matter. You're still going to be charged.
You're dead wrong. What you just described is entrapment, and it's literally one of the central points in proving whether or not you're going to be held criminally liable for something. If you are a person, real quick, just because it's just so wrong, I bring in a lawyer or something. If somebody comes up to you and like, hey, you should go sell these drugs to these school kids, or else, maybe I'm going to come and beat you up, and you go sell the drugs, then yeah, you're going to get fucked. But if a guy walks up to you and he's like, I need you to sell these drugs, I'm going to go to 111 Johnson Street, I'm going to murder your fucking family. I've got two. I'm sorry, I'm using that F word. I'm going to go and murder your family. I've got like people on standby that are about to go kill your kids. And then you go and sell the drugs. Your feeling of whether or not there's a genuine threat there to your life is absolutely going to play a pivotal role in how you're going to be charged with any crime or no crime at all. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse. When Kyle Rittenhouse was exonerated, he used the affirmative defense of self-defense because he felt like his life was in danger. He had a feeling that those people were going to kill him. That's it. There was no fact of the matter. It was just he felt like his life was in danger. He didn't know if that guy with the skateboard was going to keep attacking him. He didn't know if the guy walking into was going to shoot him. He just felt like his life was in danger. The feelings are incredibly important. Unless we're talking like statutory crimes. Like, yeah, feelings are so important. That's so obvious. Okay, that's my last word. You can say whatever you want, but I can't go back.
I agree that feelings are.
I want to give Destiny the last word on this one, just because the last question was for Destiny. And that was about 5 minutes ago. So we got to move to the next one. This one, Famo says, Dan Schneider made many of the teen Nickelodeon shows. His then minor actors are now coming forth with allegations. He's not in court, but Tate is. I think that was for you, Destiny, about the Dan Schneider guy.
I don't know enough about Dan Schneider. He might be a horrible, bad person. I didn't come here to debate Dan Schneider. I'm not going to make strong statements on another individual unless I specifically prepared to talk about that individual. I've heard of weird things about the Dan Schneider guy. If it was the case that he was abusing children coming forward, then yeah, you should throw the book at him. I don't know if you would expect me to defend him or what, but yeah, I just don't know enough about him to have any strong statements about him.
You got it. Nighttime Lime says, what's the difference between murder, manslaughter, and self-defense, if not the feelings of the person involved?
I mean, every murderer can claim that he didn't have an intention, like it was just accidental. Like the intention is not the only thing that is relevant in that case, whereas in these sex trafficking cases, it seems like the standard of believe all women is what's being used to keep people in prison. It's just on the testimony of women without anything else. Like that's my point. My point is not that feelings don't matter in any criminal case. Yeah, they do matter. Subjectivity is a part of many criminal cases. That I acknowledge that. So Destiny is strawmanning me by saying that. I think that intention has nothing to do with criminal cases. It does. But if you kill someone and say, if you murder someone and you just say, oh, but I didn't have the intention, that's irrelevant. Like you can still be convicted of murder, even if you claim that you didn't have the intention to actually premeditated kill someone in the first degree.
This one from Ben MC says, I'm all for growing as a person. We should just give
it's just like, it's so false. Proving intent is so important in trying to like get somebody on like murder 1 or murder 2. Like it's so important.
This one from Nighttime Lime says, guys, the R gorilla was just a parody. I don't know what that
True.
means. This one, Austin King says, Daniel, what is an NFT?
What is an NFT? Like, isn't...
What is an NFT? What is an NFT?
I have heard about NFTs selling like pictures of monkeys and gorillas online for crypto. Maybe Destiny can correct me. I'm not an expert on this topic.
Yeah,
you got it.
Close enough.
Famo says, Destiny, if you're going by law, you do know that cheating on your wife isn't illegal in this country. So would you defend in secret? Would you defend secret infidelity because it isn't fraud, quote unquote?
Was that for me?
Yes.
Would I support secret infidelity because it isn't fraud? I don't even know how to engage with that question. My brain was...
Night, I think this is the last one. Nighttime line. Oh, we actually got that one, so let me just check if there are any last ones. I want to say thanks so much, folks, for tuning in. It's been already over what I expected in terms of the time for this debate. Do want to say, let's see. Let me just see if there's this one from Philip F. says to Daniel, how do you know the character of Tate is converting to Islam and not the man himself?
Again, I don't know that. I can't know what is in Andrew Tate's heart. You know, if he comes out and says, oh, I was just playing everyone, I'm not really Muslim, that'd be very sad. I'd be very disappointed in that. But I have hope that he is a sincere Muslim. And on that basis, I think that I have that kind of love for him as a fellow Muslim. But, you know, I can admit that I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know what his actual intentions are.
Maxim Lebrant says, is there a world where the Tates are rightfully convicted, and what evidence would you need to see for that to be the case?
So I guess that's for me. The evidence that I would need to see that it is the case, I need, for example, you show me pictures of women being chained to radiators at Andrew Tate's residence. You have a pattern of women coming to the police in Romania where they're running to the police department, and they have like these kinds of wounds from being shackled, or they have other kinds of, medical problems. They have to be hospitalized. There's like a pattern of women being hospitalized that have been working with Tate from all kinds of injuries and abuse. Those kinds of things would be, I think very relevant evidence that could be cited, especially when there's a pattern of it over a period of time, since he's working with 70 plus women over many years.
You got it. Thank you very much for this. I think that's actually it. So I want to say thank you very much to our guests. It's been a true pleasure. Destiny and Daniel are linked in the description box. What are you waiting for? You can click on those links right now. Thanks, Destiny and Daniel. It's been a true pleasure to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be back in a moment, folks, with a post-credit scene, a really short one, on upcoming debates, so stick around. All right, thanks, gentlemen. I'll let you go. Thanks for bearing with, as that was longer than I expected. So
yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Holy shit. We kind of figured that this would suck, but at least we know for the future now. Dude, this refueling shit has been fucking AIDS. I just wasted like 2 hours. Oh my god. Everybody say happy birthday to Nunu. Your receipts for Fresh and Fit and Sneeko. Yeah, like I said, at least we know for other people, if anybody wants to try like factual arguments, we kind of know. I feel pretty equipped for any of these debates, yeah. Oh god, I think Pixie and Aaron are coming over. Factorial music. Does this mean I'm not going to be able to... Hey, there's my guy! Oh, I'm starting to feel Starcraft, boys. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. This music's inspirational as fuck. Factorial music is. Jesus, how fucking stupid. Okay. Give me a minute. I'm gonna... Jesus Christ. Fuck! I wish I would have gotten more into the minutiae of things. There's a lot of interesting stuff I know about the taste now, but... Because it would have been good for a YouTube video, but that video is just gonna suck now, because that debate was fucking horrible. I'm gonna grab Red Bull and stuff. Hold on, give me a minute. Split VOD. Are you trying to 100% this Factorial? I'm not sure yet. Be back in a second.
Welcome to the Tier 5 Super Clever. TF. Back in my high school, the seniors used to call freshman girls fresh meat. I know this debate was annoying, but you handled it like a champ. Keep sticking it to him. Somebody asked this guy what the cost of tea in China is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have apprehended the notorious racist Ryan Tyler. Rest assured he is now in YouTube chat custody and will be gifted a sub.
Hey chat, just wanted to say this dishonest guy doesn't represent all Muslims. Some people are bad faith, some aren't. People are people less than 3. Destiny Pepe wins. Free top key till it's backwards. Don't forget statute of limitations, woozy face. Murder is different from homicide. Murder requires intent.
Is this stream over? Did he pause? Let's just keep it going. We'll see what happens. Wait, let me check the chat. What the chat say? What does the chat say? Yeah, I think this is over. Let's go ahead and end it.